We've got another 2024 commit ready to interview, and this is going to be a fun one with Brett Carroll.
Hey,
You are Locked On Golden Gophers.
No matter what we're going to do here, we're just going to keep rowing.
Your daily podcast on the Minnesota
Whatever
Golden Gophers.
However it turns out, we're just going to keep rowing.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
We're just going to keep rowing, and keep rowing.
All right, you're listening to Locked On Golden Gophers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And today we have a special guest for you, a 2024 commit from Olathe, Kansas. Brett Carroll is joining us. I am excited for this one, Brett. You are one of my favorite commits on this group of 2024s. I'm not just saying that because you're here on the show. I actually just from what I've gathered from watching your film, from what I've gathered from some of the interviews you've done, you got a great head on your shoulders. You seem like you know exactly what you're looking for. So I want to let the Gophers fans get to know you a little bit more. So we're going to kick it off with this. So far in your career on the field, what has been your favorite moment playing football? What is the biggest thing that stood out to you?
Honestly, that's a pretty hard question. There's a couple really big moments, but I'll go with last year. We were playing this school called Shawnee Mission Northwest, and we were having a really down year, and so we finished the season 2-8, and we kind of turned around. We're 4-8 right now, but we finished the season 2-8, so we're 1-6 at the time. It's the last game of the regular season, and we played at Shawnee Mission Northwest, and everyone was just kind of like, we all knew the season wasn't going to where we wanted it to go, obviously, by that point in the year. But by the time we got there, everyone was just locked in because we needed one more game. We needed to end on a high note, and we got out there. It was a close game. Probably honestly shouldn't have, but it was a close game, and we got it done. They were driving down the field. The defense got a fumble recovery, and then we went out and took a knee, and everybody was jumping around and all this and all that. It was a pretty cool moment. I'll say that.
Absolutely. I love that. And there's something about it. No matter what your record is, when you can all come together and you just have that sense of that completion, that you fought in there and scrapped it out, it's hard to take a better feeling away than that. So I'm totally with you on that. But now kicking it over a little bit. So you did choose Minnesota as your school. There were a bunch of Power 5 offers out there for you as well. You had visited 4 schools, I believe, outside, or 4 total schools. What were you specifically looking for during your visits when it came to play styles in the program, and what did Minnesota have that felt like the right school for you?
Well, honestly, for one, I wanted to run the ball a lot. They do that a lot up here. But I was trying to be, honestly, it's the first time I've really been only thinking about me, when it comes to sports or anything like that. I wanted to find a program that had the best chance to make me the best version of myself. I'm really big on that. Compete with yourself yesterday, be better than you were yesterday, and always be improving as an individual. And that was one thing I really saw here, was the development side of things. Second to none, honestly. So that was probably the biggest reason.
Awesome. No, I love that so much. And so you visited Minnesota a couple times. Were you here for the game this weekend, right? I believe you and your dad were in town here. What is your favorite part about visiting Minnesota when you've been here so far? Is there a favorite food stop you've been to, or when you were visiting on your official visit, was there a memory or something that you liked the most?
Well, there's a couple things. I'll get to one of the things is always this is my second time coming to Minneapolis because I didn't have a visit before I went on my official visit because it was kind of an odd deal. Minnesota found me late, and Coach Callahan came to my school. Then they offered me, and then they had talked to me a lot. And from those conversations, I was confident that I should have had an official visit to Minnesota. But so I went to the first time on my official visit, and then I come back. Now it's like you get used to seeing these guys on your phone, and once you see them in person, it's kind of like a surreal feeling. Like because in your head they almost. I mean, I know that they're real people, but in your head you see them on FaceTime, you just talk to them on the phone, and they really only exist in the digital world. So that's really cool. Like to be around it and all that. And then another thing that I really liked was just like the camaraderie with the commits that we kind of built in the official visit, which was a really cool deal. And then seeing a lot of those guys again. And then we got a group chat that's always going live well deep into the night when people should be sleeping. But it is so there's a lot of camaraderie with that too, and that's one of the things I really like.
Yeah, no, I love that. And you led me right into the next question I had for you was, how has it been connecting with the other 2024 commits? Like you said, the group chat is always blowing up, going a little bit later than it should sometimes. But who would you say you just naturally hit it off with the most and have a good connection with?
Um, I like I like a lot of the dudes, honestly. The lineman commits, so we were all on the same visit. There was so when I went on my official visit, there was 4 linemen on the visit. Caleb Filan, Nathan Roy, Mauricio Hines, and obviously myself. Now, Nathan and Mauricio committed on the visit, actually, and then Caleb and him committed in Illinois. But the 4 of us just hit it off immediately. We were really tight because we were always around each other, and all just a really great group of dudes, honestly. And then there's a couple other dudes, like I'll mention Sam Macy. Mason Carrier's a great guy. Just all those guys that I was around a lot. They're all just great dudes, and it was really fun. I think one thing that Minnesota did that was really good was they set up the visit specifically to build those connections because, there's really, they can't recruit you all the time, but there's no limit on what some guy's going to recruit you. Be like, hey, come on, let's do this like every weekend. And that's one thing too, is honestly, it was weird because because that happened a lot when I was leaving, because I was determined to finish my visits before I made a decision, because I knew for me, I needed a week to basically
Right.
decompress and to really decide, because you get caught up in everything of the official visits. I knew that I couldn't let myself do that, or I wouldn't be confident in my decision. So I'm leaving, and like everybody on the visit committed or was committed, and everybody's like, "Make it happen, Brett. Make it like everybody's leaving, and they're all going, because I went on the later flights, I guess. And he goes, everybody just kept going, make it happen. Like I don't know if everybody like said to do that, but everybody walked up and said, make it happen. So, but I walked out that day.
That's funny. And I mean, look, it's very mature of you too, to be able to understand yourself and know, look, respectfully, I want to take a week to myself, kind of take it all in and make the right choice for me. I value that I guess the word I'm looking for here is that sense of maturity for yourself to be able to recognize it and stick to it. And that's a great thing to have moving forward. Now I'm going to bring it back to the field a little bit more. In your own words, what do you think that you have improved on the most individually from your junior year to your senior year?
That's I'd say I improved a lot with um, understanding how to help others, I'll say, because I've always been successful individually, but one thing that was needed this year, and more so than other years, because even the last couple of years we've had down years at the East. We've always had good lines and older lines, but now we got young lines. We got guys that transferred in for their senior year that were out of their schools, don't really understand what's going on. Plus, we changed up a lot of things, and so just constantly staying on my toes and understanding that there's more to understand, more to know, and that other people might not get it as quickly as I am, and then you have to. And that part of honestly, more so mentally, I think I've learned, I've improved as a football player more so than physically or anything like that.
Awesome. Now, we will get right back to that interview with Brett Carroll, but first we got to talk to you about our friends over at FanDuel, because you can jump in with a new customer deal where you can bet $5 on any bet out there and you can get $200 back in bonus bets, and that is guaranteed win or lose. So all you have to do is bet $5 on anything from spreads, player props, over-unders, and more, and you will get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. All you have to do is go to fanduel.com/lockedon. Again, that's fanduel.com/lockedon. Place a $5 bet or more, and you'll get $200 back in bonus bets guaranteed. And when we're looking at this weekend, it might be a Gophers bye week, but there are still big games, especially for the Big Ten, on the line, including Wisconsin versus Iowa. Now, Iowa is our next opponent, but they play Wisconsin this week at Wisconsin, and right now Wisconsin is favored by 10 points. So you can take your shot on that line and many more over at fanduel.com/lockedon. All right, we're going to take this. We've been talking about football. We've been talking about your other commits and all that. I want to learn more about you. I want the Gophers fans to know more about you off the field. So first off, any nicknames that you currently have that you enjoy, that you want to continue at the next level? I mean, of course, if you don't like them, we won't mention them because we don't want those to stick around. But anything you've got going for nicknames?
No, easy one-syllable name. No need to shorten.
That's fair. That's fair. All right. Aside from that, what is your favorite thing about your hometown?
Honestly, it's the way we take sports seriously. Like football is in Olathe. I'm not saying we're Houston, Texas, but we are in Kansas. We take our sports very, very seriously. There might be one town that rivals us called Derby, um, Derby, Kansas, which is a suburb of Wichita. But we take everything very seriously. I would say that Olathe is the hub for football, and it's the hub for wrestling, uh, and track, and so all, two of the main sports, and then wrestling in Kansas. Because, and honestly, we just have five high schools, so we probably don't win as many state championships as we probably should, but we split it up so much. But we take sports very seriously. We have a very serious youth sports program, and everybody loves it. So
Awesome.
that's probably the thing.
Awesome. All right. Then favorite hobby outside of football?
I like fishing. That's probably what I do the most other than football.
Got it. Got it. I'm sure there will be some competitions between you and some teammates. I know a lot of kids in the 2023 class were huge on fishing. There's some current players huge on fishing still too. So might have to get some competitions going in the summer every once in a while for you guys. But for you, you talk about your love for sports. Do you have a favorite NFL team that you root for?
I would say I'm the Chiefs because obviously
Okay.
being from Kansas City. But yeah, I'd say Chiefs.
Okay. And then aside from your favorite sports team, I feel like knowing your position, are there any players that you like to watch at a similar position or on the O-line that you like to maybe take notes or just keep an eye on when they're playing in the NFL level?
So yeah, two big ones: Tyrann Mathieu and Jason Kelsey. And there's a few others, but those are the main two. If they're ever on, I'll usually watch
Awesome. Any hidden talents that you have that you're comfortable sharing with Gophers fans?
them. Hidden talents?
Yeah.
I don't think of one. I can't think of any.
That's totally fair. Totally fair. I feel like whenever I'm put on the spot with that question too, I can't think of anything. And then you go off during the day and you're like, oh, I guess I could have said this maybe, but I totally feel you. No worries there. All right. Do you have a go-to TV show or a movie that you like to watch?
I like The Big Lebowski. It's a good movie.
All right. And then if you could have any NIL deal with any company in the world or product or something that you absolutely love that best represents you, what would the NIL deal be?
I don't know, either something to do with food or like a bulletproof vest. I feel like either one of those would be pretty good.
I love
Probably
it.
food though.
I love it. All right. Who is your role model? Whether it be a family member, whether it be a celebrity, a sports star, something that you've studied before. Who would you say, in your words, is your role model?
For the most part, my dad. There have been a couple other dudes that I've looked up to throughout my life, but my dad's been the one that's been there the whole time, so I'd say my dad.
Love to hear it. And then, do you know what you want to study at the University of Minnesota?
I know at once I wanted to do it in the school of business, but I don't know exactly. I don't know what I'll specialize in. It'd be
For
some
sure.
business program though.
All right. Your favorite pregame or postgame meal to have?
There's this restaurant near my house called The Other Place that has this buffalo chicken pizza. That's pretty
Oh,
good after a game.
yes. Can't go
I'd say
wrong
that.
with that. All right. The final fun question I have before we wrap it up with like 3 or 4 more serious ones is, what is your choice? If you had to choose between a Netflix, HBO Max, Hulu, Prime Video, there's so many options out there. What is your go-to streaming platform? And if you have a go-to show or anything, feel free to throw that out there too.
Uh, I'd say probably Netflix is the OG. I feel like the interface is the best, easiest to decide what you want to watch. And I don't watch it as much anymore, but I used to watch it all the time. Supernatural. Love that
Okay.
show.
Yeah, good show overall. Now we are going to wrap this thing up with 3 to 4 more serious questions. I mean, it's not like life or death or anything like that, but
Yeah.
as you're halfway through your senior season, what are some of the goals that you have to finish out your senior year?
Well, win a state championship first and foremost. But that's an obvious one. I think honestly, we need to find a way to, as a team, this is not individually, find a way to fight 4 quarters. I don't think we've done that yet, and because we've blown out teams, and then we lost one close game, then we got blown out one game. If I think on talent alone at my high school, if we continue to fight and continue to do what we need to do, we're a very dangerous team come playoff time, and that's one thing we need to get better at. And I think 5 4 quarters that'd be very important. Another thing is intensity. I feel like sometimes it's not as much there when it needs to be, and but for the most part, we're pretty good about that. Maybe getting a little bit better, especially this coming week because we got a really good team that we're about to play at their place too. So, and then individually, I'd probably say I just need to do a better job of by uh, I need to do a better job of making sure that my again, this comes back to my mental side of things, making sure I'm always on top of everything because we've made some adjustments that have put some of us in bad situations over the because honestly, because things weren't working, you make adjustments, you have to figure things out. Like we started the season, couldn't run the ball on nobody, and we're starting to be able to run the ball because we changed our blocking schemes and did this and did that. And, so I just need to continue to be on top of that and manage that side of things to make sure that I'm in the best possible situation and people around me are, you know.
Today's show is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. Now, these days, every new potential hire can feel like a high stakes wager, and you want to be 100% certain that you are hiring the right person for your team and your availability. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right people for your team faster and for free. Now, you know, if it's free, it's me, and LinkedIn Jobs is hooking you up that way. So all you have to do is go create a free job post over at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege, and then you can put a purple hiring frame on your individual profile picture so others can know that you are looking and also can send recommendations your way from their network On top of that, then you have simple tools like screening questions that make it easier for you to focus on the candidates with the right skills so you can get them to interview quicker and then make the right hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. So why wait? Jump in today, create a free job post over at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post about your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. I feel it. And I can't believe I haven't mentioned this in the intro or anything like that, but you were a state champion in wrestling and shot put last year. But I'm curious for you, how do you see, you've talked about the mental aspect of things a lot today, and I really appreciate that, and I love that. I'm curious, in your words, how does playing those individual sports at an elite level help prepare you for a team sport like football, and especially on the offensive line where it takes a lot of communication, a lot of chemistry as you go? So what are your thoughts there on how that helps you be an even better athlete in football as well?
So it teaches controlled intensity. A lot of times, so especially with shot put, but even with wrestling, they're very short spurts of just go, 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 go. Like it's always talk about wrestling shape because it's a sprint for 6 minutes, right? But ultimately, 6 minutes is not very long. And a lot of times you don't even wrestle that long because matches can end earlier than that. But one thing that it really teaches you is it teaches you how to be aggressive and find it. Honestly, is the best way I think I can put it. And that's one of the best things to teach you how to be a competitive, be an athlete. And, that's probably the most important thing. I think honestly, a lot of times, even in Kansas, there's kids that grow up when they're big and they're strong. They could end up being, a powerful football player, but they don't because they grow up their whole life and people always tell them, "Oh, don't hurt my kid, don't hurt my kid," and then you hurt them accidentally while you're playing, and they get yelled at and they don't want to do that. So, but those kind of things, they just teach you how to be that you can be aggressive and do this and that. So when you grow up like me, I grew up wrestling. I wrestled since I was 4 years old. I always had that outlet that I was able to go all out and be aggressive and be intense. And just throughout my life, that followed me. So I'm very intense when I play, very intense.
Awesome.
Yeah, well, so that's one of the main things is the intensity that you learn basically through wrestling because it takes a certain mindset to be able to win a big match. Or at the state championship for shot, I wasn't the 1 seed. I think I was the 4 seed. But it just takes that mindset to be able to have your best day when it counts. And I think that's one of the main things those individual sports teach you is, especially when it's as short of a competition, like in a football game, if you even go up 14-0 on a team, and if that team is good enough, they can make the adjustment and come back. But you know what? If you stick a dude in 30 seconds on a wrestling match because you got lucky with a hip toss or something, and he can't come back and beat you, it's over. And if you have one really good throw and shot, then if that guy does have opportunities to throw it, but if he can't throw it, it's not like you got to throw that again. So I think that's one of those things that it really teaches you is really just when you have opportunities, take them. And it's a weird thing a lot of times people think that opportunity, if you see an opportunity, you'll take it. But a lot of times it's hard to recognize opportunities as an athlete. Sometimes they happen within a split second and you don't even see them. It's a feel thing. Like a lot of times as a lineman, the difference between a guy getting a pancake and a guy not getting a pancake is literally a feel. You feel their body start to move and you decide, okay, you're going down. So that's one of those things too. Oh, I didn't even forget to mention this, but wrestling is like with leverage, it's insane. There's such an advantage that you get when you understand how bodies move and how they fall, especially. So they just really help you out, be a better athlete as in general.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think what you just gave a lot of fans there, they probably have never actually considered how those different intricacies can play into an advantage for you or into the mindset for you as an offensive lineman. So I really appreciate that insight and that deeper look into it. I've got one final question for you, and that is a plain and easy one. What is one thing that you want Gophers fans to know about you as you head to Dinkytown next year?
I guess I would just say how serious this is to me. Like I always grew up watching the Big Ten. Always been a Big Ten fan. Obviously, I grew up a Nebraska fan actually, but that's not gonna last. They didn't last very long. But just how important this is to me. I've always wanted to play college football, and I've always wanted to play in the NFL, and I plan on doing that too. And so, just important this is to me is probably the most important thing I want to know.
I love it. Well, I appreciate you so much for taking the time to join us here at Locked On Golden Gophers. Fans, be sure to follow him on all the social media platforms and get ready to cheer for him next year because he is going to be a wonderful addition to this offensive line. We look forward to seeing how you grow and develop here with the University of Minnesota. And that's going to do it for us on today's episode of Locked On Golden Gophers.